to you, and many more. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is going to be a short show. So I want to dive right into it. If you're with me for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm your host today, Shantae Charles, and this is Daring Dialogues Black Table Talk Edition. I hope that you all have been having a great and wonderful Tuesday thus far. The first thing I want to get into is there is an official strike happening with longshoremen, I believe, on the East Coast that is affecting everywhere between, I believe, Maine and Tennessee, something of that nature, which means that if you are on the East Coast, you definitely want to make sure that you have some of your basic necessities and goods stocked up because if they do not work out a deal, there is definitely going to be some issues with supply chains and being able to get basic products like toilet paper and water and paper towels and all those kinds of goods, canned goods. So try to do a little bit of stocking up on that this week if you can. Secondly, we know that there is the vice presidential debate happening tonight for those of you who will be choosing to watch between Vice President candidate Tim Walz and JD. I don't want to say Vance because he actually took on that name to give himself some country credit, but his relatives have spoken out about that quite a bit. Um, so it will be those candidates on tonight. I believe it's going to be on CBS for those who will be watching. And then my last update before we go into our book reading is I wanted to show you all this without, I'm going to see if I can do it without showing you my address. So this came in the mail for me. Yeah. It says, according to our review of policy available records, someone at this address might not be registered to vote. So I don't know what address or what policy review they're talking about because both of the people in my household are registered to vote. But I wanted to show you some of the shenanigans that have been going on. And so it's got this whole thing here talking about um, voter registration application. Okay. So this was sent to my house around August time. And I was trying to figure out why are they sending this because um, I know for where I am, I've been registered at least 5 years to vote. But they're sending me this as if there's someone in my household that's not registered to vote. Um, so again, when we say check your voter registration, if you have been registered to vote in the past, this is what we mean. Because who knows? Maybe somebody tried to go in and contest whether or not my residence was correct. And so they are trying to, maybe they tried to get me put off of my voter roll. So I went into the system, I checked to make sure that I was still registered. And then on top of that, I requested a new voter registration card so that I would have a fresh card going in to voting and um, they would see that it was issued in September of this year, this duplicate card. So these are the kind of shenanigans that that people are playing. It's just showing you what it kind of looks like. These are the shenanigans people are playing with your voting. So I want to encourage you to be proactive and not wait until the last minute. I do believe October, depending on what state you're in, October, sometime in this month, is the last time that you can apply to register to vote before the election. So do all of those things and make sure you are properly prepared for any possible shenanigans that could go down. I am also planning to vote early because I do not plan on standing in line on the day of the election for more possible shenanigans to go down. So if your state offers early voting, you might want to make sure that you are ready to participate in early voting. All right? All right. Now, let's get into some reading for today. We are reading from Rock My Soul, Black People and Self Esteem. As we lead into this, I want to share on my Black Table Talk page, you will find the latest post, I believe, directly under this one, where a man is attempting to give props to Black women and the fact that his family told him, his mother told him that if he's ever in trouble, to look for a Black woman to help. And then he goes into talking about Black women, our power, our amazingness, etc. Well, some people took offense to that. They told him, listen, we get that you have been told to look for us for help, but most Black women right now are taking off the cape. They're taking off the cape. They're not trying to be the help for humanity right now, even though that's within our nature to be helpful. So some people did not take his words as a compliment. I understood what he was saying. Lots of Black women understood what he was saying. He then came back 2 days later, followed up. I also posted that video in the comment section so you could see his follow up. And he said, I stand on everything I said, which I agree with. I stand on everything I said, although it may have been misinterpreted by some to mean that, um, he sees Black women as just the help. That's not what he intended. He apologized. And then he went on to further explain that even in our culture, the term superhero, right? Black women don't want to be everybody's superhero. But he said, for me, you guys were my superhero because I didn't have someone to really look up to in that manner. So he clarified that, which was fine. The thing that gets me, though, about the whole scenario is the people that are trying to come for him about how he tried to compliment Black people are the same people who ignore Black women in real life. They're the same people who ignore the Black women that they encounter in their own life. They're the same people who take for granted the Black women that they have in their own life. Sometimes they take for granted their mothers, their aunties, their sisters. So if somebody wants to compliment Black women, I'm going to let them have at it. I get what he was trying to say. I wasn't offended. I know I'm not anybody's mule, but I think it's okay to acknowledge that, yes, there is this culture that thinks that Black women are supposed to do everything, while at the same time recognizing and acknowledging that, yes, Black women have been helpful to everyone. That is a truth that I think should be acknowledged. His mother told him, wherever you are in the world, if you're in trouble, find a Black woman. They're most likely to help you. So I don't understand people getting upset about that truth because that's what it is. That's the truth. That was truth. Now, do we want to be helping everybody all the time and nobody helping us in a reciprocal manner? No. But are Black women helpful generally to almost everybody if we see someone in trouble? Yes. But here's another larger picture. So are most Black men. Most Black people in general are helpful. I'm just saying. Most Black people in general are helpful. If something's going on, our natural instinct, most of the time, is to try to be helpful or to offer help. So, some people, to me, who don't have a conscience, would see that as a weakness. But I don't see that as a weakness. I see that as a strength, and I see that as a part of what makes us human, having compassion and having empathy on people. Now, can some of us stand to use a little bit more discernment so that we're not putting ourselves in danger while we're trying to help people? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I would not look at the acknowledgement of our humanity, of our kindness, of our compassion, of our empathy, um, of our emotional intelligence. I would not look at those things as a negative. All right. So just wanted to share that. If you want to look at the videos, they should be directly under this post. It should be the post directly under it, and the videos are in the comment section. I am putting videos in comment sections because Facebook is dinging my page every time I put up videos from TikTok now because they don't like TikTok. They only want Facebook stuff and they want you to stay on their platform and they don't want you to go to TikTok. And they don't want to find out you've been looking at videos on TikTok. So anytime now that I place videos from TikTok on my page, I am now getting a notice saying I'm violating community standards. So if you've noticed, when I say videos and comments, it's usually because it's coming from another platform. Okay? Just so you understand why I'm doing that and what is happening. All right. So we're back in Bell Hook's work. In this chapter, she is talking about ending the shame that binds. And she is going to be talking about colorism and sexism. So let's take a look what she's going to be talking about here. Looks like she's going to start out by talking about Lil Kim. It's going to be interesting to see what she has to say there. And I believe we're going to end this chapter. So let's see. Let's get to it. She writes, this is the book that I'm reading from, okay? In case you want to go get it. Since sexism leads men to be judged more by how they perform than by how they appear, the black male who may feel wounded and shamed by color stigmas may feel he can triumph over those stigmas. Michael Jordan's success is a prime example. His dark black body is deemed beautiful both here in the United States and globally. Yet there is no dark skinned black female who occupies a similar position. Even though there are still only a few successful black models, and among that few are some very dark skinned females, only the ones who have straight hair, whether wigs or natural hair, get to go to the top of the charts. In the world of fashion, dark bodies are portrayed as exotica, but never as just naturally beautiful. In the world of television, there is no black female star who holds center stage who has a natural hairdo. Now remember, she writes this around, let's see, this was written around 2003. So I think we were probably at the beginning of that. I think we have seen more representation since her writing, but definitely at the time that she was writing this, black women were just kind of on the cusp of starting to be recognized um, in various shades of melanin and then easing our way into natural hair in the media, as she calls it. Even the high priestess of black self help, Ayama Van Zant, stopped wearing her hair natural when she made it to television. She came to her success preaching self love and self esteem, using her own life as an example of how black folks can start at the bottom and rise. But when it comes to the representation of beauty, black females have only risen so far. The standard again is different for black men. Most successful black males wear their hair naturally. Even though black men have always participated to some extent in chemical straightening of hair, those males were always a minority. In Black youth culture, white supremacist aesthetics have prevailed, yet they are given their most graphic expression in representations of the Black female. While the Black male rappers create anti-racist lyrics that project critical consciousness, that consciousness stops sometimes when it comes to the female body. More than any other propagandistic tool, television shows that focus on Black youth reinscribe white supremacist aesthetics with a vengeance. Dark skinned females are rarely depicted at all, and even light skinned Black females get no play unless they have long straight hair. Speaking about her career as a rapper, in Essence, the magazine for today's Black woman, Little Kim acknowledged, quote, when I was younger, all the men liked the same women, light-skinned European-looking women. Being the rapper Lil Kim has helped me to deal with it a little better because I get to dress up in expensive clothes and look like a movie star. All the people responding to me has helped because I still don't see what they see. The more Little Kim distorted her natural beauty to become a cartoon caricature, the larger her success became. Donning blonde wigs and getting a boob job so that she could resemble a cheap version of white womanhood she adores wins her monetary success in the world of white supremacist patriarchal capitalism and helps her cover the fact that she was dealing with low self esteem. She testified that creating a false self in her persona of Lil Kim, the personification of a childlike woman, bolsters her low self esteem. To her credit, she does not pretend that it makes the low self esteem go away. It just helps her to cope with it. And this is a young woman whom thousands upon thousands wanted to emulate. Television remains the most accessible mass medium. Many folks can just barely read or do not read at all, and books and magazines are not cheap. Folks look to television to learn how to think and feel about themselves and about their skin color. Now, I did some data checking on television consumption and viewership, and Black people still hold the highest level of consumption of television still. And why is that, or why can that be problematic? Because if you are the largest consumers of television and most of that television programming is propagandistic, is anti Black a lot of times, or the shows that have positive representations of Blackness or showing our history in its true light, those shows get canceled, then what are you left with to view? And as much as we want to say that, yes, we have to recognize that television is a portrayal, right? I know that you become what you consistently behold. So even if you know it's a portrayal, sometimes our younger people do not. And if they're consistently consuming an image that is anti Black or or portrayals, I'll put it that way, or portrayals that are anti Black, if they're consistently consuming that, whether they recognize it consciously or not, they are still being programmed. It's still going into their consciousness and their unconsciousness, their subconsciousness. These images, these portrayals, right? These verbalizations that happen in television, all of that is still going into the subconscious. So as much as we are trying to fight against notions and ideas and stereotypes, if your young people are consuming that day in, day out, and they're the largest consumers of that, it's still going to be affecting them in their subconscious. I hope we understand that. So if people are looking to television to learn how to think and feel about themselves and their skin color, what kind of messages are being consistently put out about Black people? And my husband and I often joke about this because we will put, we'll have some downtime because we don't really watch a lot of television. I'll try to watch a film, And as soon as the film comes on, you can see all of the stereotypical tropes because once you see them and once you learn them, you can't unsee them. So whether it is, the black sidekick or the LGBTQ sidekick, or if there is somebody that's black in a leadership role, they're often incompetent in that leadership role. Or if it's, a black or brown person, they seem to be hypersexualized in their portrayal. And you just see it over and over and over again till it gets to the point where it's like, I don't really want to watch too much television, or I don't really want to watch too many films because the roles are so stereotypical. So television narratives perpetuate color cast. And I'm going to not just say television, I'm going to say film in general perpetuates color casting. The color cast system has been most exposed and interrogated in the fiction written sometimes by black female authors. Contemporary black women novelists have written the stories that most vividly chronicle the pain and anguish of internalized low self esteem rooted in shame about the body. From acclaimed writer Gwendolyn Brooks' groundbreaking novel on the issue of color, Maud Martha, to Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye, the nature of crippling low self esteem based on color is talked about. Morrison's fictional little black girl, Piccola, wants blue eyes because she feels that they will give her a better life. Morrison was one of the first black women novelists to critique the concept of physical beauty. In The Bluest Eye, she writes that the concept of beauty is, quote, one of the most destructive ideas in the history of human thought. Writing about an adult black female character's self esteem, she tells readers she was never able, after her education in the movies, to look at a face and not assign it some category in the scale of absolute beauty, and the scale was one she absorbed in full form, the silver screen. A dangerous form of psychological splitting had to have taken place, and it continues to take place in some cases in the psyche of many African Americans who can, on one hand, oppose racism and then, on the other hand, passively absorb ways of thinking about beauty that are rooted in white supremacist thought. The normalization of this dysfunction has had disastrous consequences for the self esteem of many African Americans. Every day that African Americans partake of mainstream mass media, in particular visual media, we are subjected to covert and overt representations of an aesthetic informed by this thinking. Without constant vigilance, we are all likely to succumb to the seduction of images that basically teach us that all things fair are better than all things dark. Subliminal suggestion acts upon us even when there is no open discourse about race or racism. When black folks look at the movie Soul Food, no one in the film ever mentions skin color, but the color caste system is perpetuated by the choice of females depicted in the film as desirable. Children are willing to identify and openly assert their received understanding that black is bad and white is good. Studies are still showing that children, including black children, prefer white dolls to black dolls. Every day in our nation, thousands of black children are asking parents to change them in some way so that they can be more like their white peers. They know from watching television that everything white is better. A few years ago, a children's book by black author Carolivia Heron was published called Nappy Hair. Reproducing an aspect of traditional black folk culture called signifying, the story tells the story tells of a little dark-skinned girl who is continually mocked for having nappy hair. In the end, she is portrayed as triumphing over this mocking. The images accompanying the text are ugly. Portrayed as grotesque and unfeminine, she could be a strange-looking boy or an animal. When this book was first published, it was not a success. Yet, when an attractive young white schoolteacher claimed that black parents had threatened her for reading the book to little black children, that made national news. Her image was everywhere in magazines and on television. Suddenly, this same book was a success. No one wrote about the reasons black parents, mostly poor and working class, opposed the teaching of this book. When I was critical of this work, calling attention to the way it reproduces shaming, white peers pointed out to me that it was written by a black woman. They show surprise when I emphasize that black folks have internalized white supremacist thought as well. Colonized grown black people are the group that emotionally abuses black children by shaming them about their bodies daily. Listen, Bill, you done said a word. Let me say that again. I am so sorry if my voice seems too low. This is my normal speaking voice. Now also I am also an actress. I can do different voices. I just choose not to. I can do the funny baby voice. I can do the Valley Girl voice. I just choose to speak in my regular tone. Let me see. Let me make sure my volume's up. No, don't do that. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me? Hopefully, I'm speaking loud enough. If you can hear me, put some hearts on the screen on Facebook or tap the screen on YouTube. All right. Okay, I'm not getting anybody saying they can't hear me still, so let me keep going. This is a very important point. She says here, colonized grown black people are the group that emotionally abuses black children by shaming them about their bodies daily. I don't know if you've met some colonized grown black people before, but I have. And when I hear them speak, it's a little terrifying because I'm like, how are you this big and grown and you are still holding these clearly? You can look around and check the data, clearly untrue thoughts. I've seen this happen. I've seen grown black colonized people assume that black children can't read as well as other children. I've seen that. I've had to correct it. I've seen black colonized adults say things like, those children are up to no good. I've seen that. There's even data out that shows that when there is a black child in a classroom, the attention to watch for negative behavior goes toward the black child, while other children could be doing the same behavior. There's often an emphasis of looking at them, which in turn translates to them getting in trouble more, them getting written up more, them being disciplined more. So this is very true what she says. Watch out for colonized grown black people around your children. People who say things like, you're not as pretty as X, Y, and Z because of your skin color. Or people say, you'd be so pretty if you were lighter, colonized black folks. Or you're pretty for a dark skinned person, colonized black folks. Keep them away from your children. Yeah. Let me continue reading because I'm gonna have to, yeah, that just. Many adult black folks who do not believe in their heart of hearts that white is better feel they must wear the mask to get ahead in jobs and careers. Wearing the mask may include straightening one's hair so that unenlightened white folks, particularly prospective employers or other authority figures, will feel more comfortable. When I wear my hair in braids, she writes, I find I am often perceived to be a threat or undesirable when encountering the unenlightened white public. That same public regards me more positively when my hair appears straightened. Lots of white folks have learned to associate black folks in natural hair with race pride or as a threat or as a radical. The logic of white supremacy equates loving blackness with being anti white. As a consequence, black folks who choose to love themselves may appear to most white folks as threats. Until these white folks collectively decolonize their minds, they send the message to black people that we are more comfortable when you look, talk, and act like us. All black folks are pressured to assimilate, imitating the look of white folks by straightening hair, coloring one's hair blonde, could increase a black person's value in the eyes of some white colonizers. Even though more black folks than ever choose to wear natural hair, very few powerful public figures or successful entertainers who are black and female are able to wear their hair in its natural state. Now, of course, as I said, this is 21 years ago she's writing this. I think we have seen some improvements. We aren't going to finish this chapter. I'm going to stop there because I've got to do a short show today, but we are almost done. I will tell you about an experience I had myself when I was working as a library assistant and a library research assistant. I was working in a town that is what we call being a super minority in, where less than 7% of the people in the whole town were black. So to be black there was to be very noticeable. Um, and I remember at this particular day that I had gone in, I had my natural hair, it was blown out and it was curly, a little bit curly, but it was pretty much in its natural state. I was just letting my hair air dry. And my supervisor at the time was like, "Oh, I noticed that you're doing something different with your hair because sometimes I blow my hair out and then sometimes I wear it, natural." So the first day I came in, she made the comment and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, my I'm wearing my hair differently. This is what I do." The second day, she brought me a picture from a magazine and she showed me the picture and she tried to tell me what picture would look better on me, what hairdo would look better on me. And then she had the nerve to suggest that my husband would like this hairstyle over here better than the one I came in the door with at the school. Do you think she got in trouble for that? Yes, I reported her. But do you think she got in trouble for that? Oh, and by the way, she was a member of the Daughters of Confederacy. Do you think she got in trouble for that? Do you think she got in trouble for coming to a black woman in a professional space with a magazine picture telling a black woman how she thought her hair should look, what would look better on her, and what her husband would like better? Do you think she got in trouble with that? Put your answer in the comment section. Now, that was not a racial microaggression, that was a macroaggression. And so, what did I do? Again, I addressed it with her superiors, nothing happened. But I continued to wear my hair exactly the way I felt like wearing it. Because how you going to tell me what would look good on me? So, yeah, I'm probably not the only black woman with that kind of a story. I'm probably not. If you've had a hair story like that where somebody who is not black tried to tell you how you should wear your hair, make sure you comment in the comment section. Let's see how common this is. where someone insinuates that something about your hair should change. Now, she was always kinder when she liked what my hair looked like, but I didn't stop changing my hair and how I wanted to wear it, whether it was afro, whether it was a blowout, whether it was braids. I didn't stop wearing my hair the way that I wanted it to wear it. But there are, as she talks about in her book, there are very much so people who have a specific notion of what blackness should look like. And when you don't fit that notion in their mind of what blackness looks like or what blackness is safe, you get those comments, you get those suggestions, you get insinuations. And she didn't stop there. So, this is what I wanted to share today. Our self esteem cannot come from external sources, but we work on our self esteem by not buying into and feeding into the stereotypes. And if that means that you got to turn off your television when you see yourself being barraged with stereotypes, then do that. Then do that. I will tell you, I'm really excited about the new rise of Black filmmakers who are out here putting out work that represents us in our truest selves. I am excited to see that there are more producers, more filmmakers on the rise who are saying we've got to have representation of ourselves as ourselves, telling our own stories, sharing our own voice, and I appreciate that. All right. If you would like to join me for conversation on Facebook, you can click on the two cameras. I have got about 8 minutes, somewhere around there, for us to have a little bit of talk back. If you are watching via YouTube, I want to thank you for your time and attention. You can join us on our Facebook page right now as we have the talk back. Take care, be well, and most importantly, be light. And I'm going to have to go back and check that YouTube because they were saying